Vertigo Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Vertigo. Yeah. Thank you for joining me. Hit that subscribe button right now if you are not already subscribed. That's kind of a no-brainer, right? I am your host, Sean. Welcome back. This is episode 2 with video. So, hey, leave a comment, man. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm feeling a little bit more relaxed. You can see that there's actually some stuff up on the walls here in the studio. We're not looking so plain. We're not so effing sterile as previously recorded. Yeah, here we are, man. So this is Vertigo. Vertigo for the hardcore. Still playing around with that, still getting comfortable with that. But yeah, this is Vertigo. Welcome to another episode. And yeah, this is going to be a different kind of episode today. Hang in and you'll see why. I did a deep dive. First of all, I did a couple of things. One, I had talked about in the last episode possibly talking about conspiracy theories, which led to today's topic, actually. And it's not so much a conspiracy theory as I really started thinking about how much we just trust information that we get on the internet. And then it led me to thinking, has anybody ever heard of the dead internet theory? And working in IT, I've heard of the dead internet theory. I also have to admit, I really do kind of buy into it. So if you haven't heard, first of all, of the dead internet theory, the theory is this. And this is a real basic. But the theory is this. The dead internet theory is there are more bots than humans on the internet. And it's basically just bots and AI that's spinning out information on the internet. There's little to no true human interaction on the internet. So me doing an internet search, I'm not getting information from another person as much as I'm getting information from bots. And we know that, right? For example, when Elon Musk was purchasing Twitter, and this isn't a debate about whether or not just follow me. Like because we can go in so many fucking directions. Already my head's like, well, we could talk about Elon. We're not going to talk about Elon. Elon is an enigmatic character in and of himself. We'll just leave it right there. Although I'm seeing more and more Cybertrucks, they are a fucking weird looking design, in my opinion. Obviously, people love the Cybertruck. But I see them and I drive and I just look at it and I'm like, that is an interesting vehicle. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. And it has nothing to do with Tesla. I don't care, to be honest with you, about Tesla, one way or another. I really don't. I don't. Well, I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret. My opinion on electric vehicles. I really don't see how they are any less environmentally impactful. Did that sentence go together right? I think that the environmental impact of electric vehicles, we are going to find out, is just as bad as gasoline-powered vehicles. And here's why. Now here's the thing, and this kind of does, believe it or not, this does tie in with the topic today. Wild, right? I've made a connection. Is your head spinning? Mine is. I'm only 3 minutes in. Fuck. What were we talking about? See, Sean, this is why you really need to stay on topic a little bit better, bud. I'm trying. Dead internet theory? Tesla. Oh, yeah, we were talking about Tesla. Well, we were specifically talking about Elon Musk. And then somehow we got to e-vehicles. So let's talk about electric vehicles. First of all, if you know anything about mining for those batteries, because it's not done in the United States, right? So because it's not done here, we have this disconnect from it. But do you realize, people think that fracking is bad for gas and oil. And I worked in the oil field, so I can actually talk about this with some certainty because I did it. I was employed in the oil field, and I actually worked in the oil field. Fracking is, I don't really have an opinion either way about fracking, I guess, whether it's good or bad for the environment. I know that's probably going to really mess with some people's heads, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion, I guess, on it. Um, do I like it? I don't necessarily like what we've done to the earth, I guess, as far as like, you know, I don't know. I love the outdoors and I love the environment and I love the woods and I love the serenity and I love all of that. So I don't like really it has nothing to do with the oil field. I don't like what we've done just as a population of people to the earth in general, I guess. So, but in 2026, it's like we're already steamrolling ahead and we've been doing, digging for oil and coal and all this shit for years and years and years and years, way beyond me. So at this point, it's like, how do you stop it? It's hard to just shut the valve off at this point, and I recognize that, I guess. So there's a part of me that, you know, doesn't have an opinion either way, I guess, because it's like I feel like realistically, how are we going to stop it? It's been in motion for so long. I don't know. But anyway, but what I will argue is this: the argument with the whole electric vehicles thing. One, we have to charge these things. Well, actually, one, the batteries. Okay, mining for the cobalt and the ingredients for the batteries is terrible. So if you don't like fracking, then you definitely should not like mining for the battery stuff. The problem is it's not done here, so we don't really hear a lot about it. It's done in other countries, and it's done in poorer countries, and we don't care about those countries. That's the truth. Should we care about those countries? Yes. Should we care about what those mine workers are going through? Yes. But truthfully, we don't, because it's not happening here in the grand old US of A. So it's just what it is. Fracking does happen here, so we have a loud opinion about that. Fair. It's fair. Okay. So then the car's built. Well, you have to charge it. So unless you live in a place that is running off of nuclear power, and we can have this debate, nuclear power is the cleanest energy that we can produce. That's it. Everybody's afraid of nuclear power because, of course, nuclear is scary. But the truth of the matter is, nuclear power is the cleanest energy source that we can have. So, but not everybody has nuclear power or access to that type of power. So, but anyway, we're charging these vehicles on a system that's old and archaic, and they're already talking about how the grid can't sustain. I mean, Jesus, man! In the summertime, we hit a heat wave, and they're talking about how everybody's air conditioning is taxing the power grid. And so, yeah, let's sell everybody an electric car that's got to charge them. Like, I don't know. Nobody else thinks about this shit, I guess, man. This is the stuff that makes my head spin. Like, I sit back and go, what the fuck? Like, really? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what sense does this make? Everybody go out and buy an electric vehicle. Now, listen, as far as the emissions go, I get it, right? Like, I completely understand that. As far as the actual emissions go, okay, that's fair enough, man. I understand. Like, we don't want, all of the exhaust and shit going into the environment and whatnot. Okay, fair enough. And there's no emissions from electric car. Okay. That part, that argument, okay. You win. You win. But there's so many other things that go into this. It's not just the fact of the emissions. So if we get rid of gasoline powered cars and we get rid of the whole need for oil, okay. If you truly want to do that, then we need to go back to horse and buggy. But then everybody's going to sit there and say, well, horse shit is like toxifying the air or something. I don't fucking know. There's just never an answer. This is what makes my head spin, man. No, I don't know. I just can't get behind the electric car thing. And I know that a lot of people I've had a lot of debates and a lot of arguments, I guess, about it, and you're not going to change my mind. I understand completely the emissions argument, hands down. And like I said, you win. You win. But there are so many other things that we are not factoring into just the emissions. Okay, we're mining for the batteries, for these lithium ion batteries. Okay, we're mining for these things in other countries, poorer countries. People are, and it's not healthy. Okay, it's not like they're mining for Himalayan salt here. Okay, the what they have to do to strip these elements from the earth. No bueno. Look it up on the dead internet. Look it up on the dead internet, dude. Where bots are just feeding you fucking bullshit anyway. Does anybody else think we are just living in the Matrix? I don't even know. Did I take the red pill or the blue pill? I don't fucking remember anymore which one was which. I got to go back and watch that movie, actually. There was a couple of movies that I wanted to stream. One of them was, what was the movie that I was thinking about? Oh, yeah, My Cousin Vinny, dude. I wanted to watch My Cousin Vinny the other day. Believe it or not, you still have to pay for that movie. As old as that movie is, you still have to purchase that movie. So kudos to Joe Pesci, man. I mean, your movie's still being, rented and sold. Fuck yeah, that's balling, right? Your Honor, these three youths right here. If you haven't seen that movie, you got to go watch it, man. Pay for it, I guess. But anyway, yeah. So the dead internet theory was one of the things. But how did I get here? How was I talking about the dead internet theory? Well, one of the things that I started thinking about was how people. Anybody like this new boom mic stand that I got here? Instead of, I used to have to be right up on my desk, and look at the studio's decorated now. Like, fuck, Vertigo is coming into the future, man. This is the second podcast with video. I mean, what the hell? We're balling. So, yeah, I don't know. I've lost so much track of, where are we? What are we talking about? You lost me. Yeah, hello. Anyway, the dead internet theory was an internet that is a theory that I was following where there is more bots. And I think it's true. I think it's true. Because if you really think about it, and this is where I was going with the whole Elon Musk thing. See, I can find my way back. It's like, yeah, I know that the path is over here, and but I saw something that caught my eye over here. But thankfully, this path kind of brought us in, boom, and here we are. Elon Musk, dead internet theory. When he purchased Twitter, he was talking about that he wanted real numbers, right? He wanted to know exactly how many users were on Twitter. And I don't know if anybody remembers this, okay? But as a reminder, you can look this up. One of his things was there were more bots, and he wanted real numbers. He wanted to know like how many people, real human people. Those are words that go together because that makes sense. Real human people, right? Because you can't be human and people, I guess. I don't know. In my mind, that makes sense. You all with me? You following me? This is Vertigo, the podcast that will make your head spin. The dead internet theory. Is that what we're talking about? I don't even know anymore. Holy fuck, we're lost. We're in the woods. I'm your host, Sean, and I'm your guide. Haha. I remember I was walking through Winona State Forest, and we're very blessed up here in central New York. It's an old logging place, I guess. They used to log up there, from what I understand, from what locals have told me. It's up in the North Country of Oswego County. So for any central New Yorkers who are curious, Winona State Forest is way up in the North Country. I guess not way up, but in Oswego County. It borders, I think, Oswego County and Jefferson County, I think. But you can ride horses through there. There's hiking trails, ATV trails. It's one of my favorite places to hike. And there's just trails everywhere. But it's cool because they all meet up. See where I'm going here? I'm your host, Sean. I may or may not have ADHD. Not formally diagnosed, at least. All right, holy shit. Before I get sidetracked anymore, the dead internet theory was what I started with, and then somehow, so Elon Musk is purchasing Twitter. It's amazing that I can keep all this shit straight. I don't know how I do it, but there's a little voice over here, or maybe it's over here. They're always arguing. They're like, stay on task, but I've got to tell this story, but you don't really need to. Stay on task. Here we are. Head is spinning. Out of control. Let's do a podcast. Fucking let's get on with it. Okay. So Elon Musk was purchasing Twitter and he wanted to know like real numbers. What are the real numbers versus bots? And so that right there kind of leads to some truth, I guess, or at least kind of shows that the dead internet theory, that there's obviously some truth to it, that there are more bots on the other side of the internet. Now, why is that important? Well, because I start thinking about how we get our information nowadays, and we trust so much on internet sources for our information, me included. I mean, how many times on a Vertigo episode have I Googled something and then spit out what the AI is, you know? Well, AI right there is admitting AI is a bot. There's no human at the other end of that. It's gathering all of this information, and in a way that's kind of cool, I guess, right? Because the AI is instantaneously, like in the blink of an eye, seconds, it's going and it's extracting all of this information and it's bringing it, and then like, here you go, here's the information that you requested. But there's no fact checking, and that to me is where it starts to get bothersome. I was having a conversation with some youths at work. These three youths right here. I was having a conversation with these three youths. They were all under 25. And we were talking about just, you know, how they get their news. Because I was in the break room fixing my coffee, watching the news. And, you know, they pick on me. They're like, oh, because, you know, I'm the old guy at work now. And which I don't know how that happened. I don't know how I got to be the old guy at work, but I am now. I'm the old guy at work. Everybody at work is younger than me. Fucking bizarre. I don't know how I got there. I feel like an alien sometimes. It's just this weird thing because I feel like I shouldn't be 50 years old, and I probably don't act it. That's just the truth. But everybody talks about, I get my news from TikTok or I get my news from Facebook, and I'm like, well, guys. But the algorithms are set to, like, of course, the news articles that you're going to read are going to cater to what it is that your interests are. As what? Like, we're always afraid of, like, difference in opinions. We want to argue everything, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is wild to me. Just wild to me, man. And yet, and even people my age will be more trusting of the information that they get from Facebook or TikTok. Perfect case in point, where I'm rewinding the clock way back here, but way back when the world was going nuts, when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And the world was going nuts, right? As it should have been, you know, because we had a couple of assassinations back to back, right? We had the CEO of United Healthcare, and then a few months later, we had Charlie Kirk. And then in between there was attempts on Donald Trump, right? So it was just the world was burning for sure at that point in time. And I remember, I can't remember who specifically, but they were a young person. And they told me that, oh my God, Sean, have you seen that? Like in all these protests, they're burning Notre Dame down. And I'm like, why? Why have I not heard of this? So they showed me a TikTok video of rioting and Notre Dame being burned, right? And it looks legit. It was like, holy shit. Well, me being me, I go down and I do my own research. So I start Googling like Notre Dame's on fire, blah, blah, blah. Nothing. There's nothing about Notre Dame being on fire. So then I cross-referenced the actual video, TikTok video of Notre Dame on fire, whatever, right? Come to find out, Notre Dame, there was a fire, which was news. There was a fire. Notre Dame had caught fire. And I don't even think it was an arsonist or anything. I think it was just a legitimate, like, Notre Dame caught on fire. And so in France, okay, in France, not the college here in the States, like the actual like Catholic church, cathedral, whatever, in France was burning. And there was a legitimate fire, and it did burn. It wasn't protest though. So somebody, or maybe a bot, I don't know, merged those two stories together, and they took video of Notre Dame burning, and they took the whole protests of what was going on with, the assassinations, specifically at that time, Charlie Kirk, and they married these two things together and made it look like, no, this is the world right now. The world is on fire. The world is crazy. And it was fake. It wasn't real. But people believed it to be real. And that's the crazy thing, because it was being sold. Hi, I've got my cheers, everybody. I have my coffee. Head on over to YouTube and watch the video. But anyway, yeah, so it just got me thinking. And so anyway, one of the things, now here's the real. So I'm going to finally introduce the topic for today. It got me thinking about, I had heard this term, God, probably a year ago at least, Sigma male. And I even got behind this. I started researching like Sigma male and watching YouTube videos about Sigma male. And I'm going to pull up my handy dandy iPhone here. And I'm going to talk a little bit quick, of course. The AI overview is what comes up immediately on Google, right? Bots, man. So here's the weird thing. So what I'm about to tell you is that the Sigma male is an internet theory. It is not science based. Yet I'm reading the AI version of it, Sigma male is an internet slang term. So it's like AI is even admitting that it's an internet slang term. It's a meme. Everything's a meme nowadays. It's an independent, self-reliant, nonconformist man who operates outside traditional social interactions. Now, here's the thing. There's always going to be a grain of truth to all of this stuff. I think that it's easy, right, when you're reading about Sigma males or when you're watching YouTube videos about Sigma males. And listen, this is how science is created, right? Somebody has a thought, a theory, and they put it forward. The difference is, and I actually learned this in college, so I'm going to assume because I learned it in college that it's real. But do we really know what's real anymore? That's the problem. We don't. Everybody's a conspiracy theorist now. The internet has all turned us against each other. I really believe that, actually, and we're going to save that for another. That discussion would be a discussion that I would love to have. Like, I would love to have some peeps on here with me. Follow me? If anybody wants to have that discussion, I really think that the internet is what has happened. Humans have always been violent and disgusting as far as how we treat each other. I mean, biblical times. We've been at war since biblical times, and the things that we do to each other for torture and for fun are absolutely despicable. And I think the internet is just the new catalyst. Just my opinion. Of course, there's good things. I mean, my podcast is out on the internet. So, I'm not hating on the internet. But I think that these are things that need to be said. And I also think that it's wild that we hold on to these things as they are truths when they're not truths, they're opinions. And that's the thing. It's like truth has become distorted to the point where it's like we don't know truth anymore. But truth has concrete empirical evidence. Opinions don't. They're just an opinion. They're just a theory. There's no concreteness to them. They're just a thought. So I think that there might be alpha males, and I think that there might be Sigma males. That's a theory. Now I have to prove it. How do I prove it? So on one hand, the internet becomes this place where it's like, I can post this theory, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's when we start to believe things are concrete when they're not. That's the problem. And it's not, and I want to take that even a step further. So it's not even the fact of believing it that is wrong. The fact that we have lost the ability to decipher fact from opinion. There's my point. Holy fuck. Opinion made. Wow. We have lost the ability to differentiate between fact and opinion. That is my point. Podcast done. Kobe in the bucket. Count it. 2 points. All right. Yeah, so so anyway, my original conversation about the dead internet theory, like I really am beginning to believe that there is some truth to the dead internet theory, because I think that there are more bots than there are people. And I think that was Elon Musk's point when he was purchasing Twitter. is that there are more bots. And so so what it does is it inflates the numbers, right? It inflates the value, but the truth of the matter is it's not. There's nothing value there because it's just bots. It's wild to me. It's really wild to me. So, these are the things that I think about. Like I said, different kind of Vertigo episode today, but these are the things that have been on my mind. These are the things that I think about. And especially because, I work with, like I said, I'm the old dog at work now. I work with a lot of young people, and how young people get what they call the news is so wild. And then, of course, we live in this political climate, fake news and this and that. It's like, where do you go to get what's truth anymore? Truth has been distorted. What is truth? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. What is truth? I don't know. There is a band, actually. So, what is on my playlist? This is a good segue. There's a band called The Nocturnal Affair. And I've barely been digging them. They've got this song out on radio right now called Oxygen. It's really cool. They consider themselves dark rock. Is goth, man. From my heyday, at least, like Typo Negative, that style of music, if you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then fuck it. It doesn't matter anyway. Just go listen to The Nocturnal Affair, man. But they got this song out on radio right now called Oxygen. I'm really digging it. But anyway, they also did a cover of that song, What is Love? And it's really cool. So leading to what's on my playlist is The Nocturnal Affair. Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. Yeah, it's a great song, actually. I love those. There's always something fun to those 80s bangers, those or was that 90s? I don't even know when that song came out originally. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. But yeah, so what's on my playlist? This is a good segue. So what's on my playlist? Well, The Nocturnal Affair, or what's on my playlist. I discovered them. I heard the song on the radio, Oxygen, and I like it. And so I went down and obviously discovered this band, and yeah, I'm really digging the band, actually. So they like I said, they're considered dark. They call themselves dark rock. I call it goth, I guess. Like I said, it's in the style of like Typo Negative. I don't know what Typo Negative was one of those bands that they were completely original, in my opinion. Like nobody sounded like Typo Negative. They were an enigma. Peter Steele is the bassist and lead singer for Typo Negative. Dude was like almost 7 foot tall. He was a bodybuilder, so he was just like this giant man. Had this deep baritone bass voice, and they had this aesthetic look. I mean, in my opinion, Typo Negative was the Americanized version. Like they were goth music of the 90s and early 2000s. Until Peter Steele died. I can't even remember when he died. It was sad when he passed, but anyway. So you have the Nocturnal Affair, who are, in my opinion, they are kind of like, the new goth, I guess. And I just watched this really cool thing because one of the other things that I thought about that kind of ties in with the whole dead internet theory and the bots and all of that stuff is I had just heard a fact. I was listening to the Magnificent Others podcast, which if anybody knows that podcast, it's Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins. And he interviews usually other music people. It's a cool, if you're a music person, the Magnificent Others is a really cool podcast. He interviews, and not just rock guys. Anybody that's involved in the entertainment business, doesn't matter the genre. But the specific episode that I was listening to, he was talking with Tommy Lee from Motley Crue. And I just want to paraphrase this quick. So he was talking with Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee apparently is huge into technology, and I kind of identify with that. Like I like tech, and so I get behind technology. So long story short, they were talking about how on Spotify, like so X amount of songs, like thousands and thousands and thousands of songs are uploaded to Spotify every day. And the question is, how is that possible? Like, how is that possible? How are that many songs being written, recorded, and uploaded? And they said it's not unless it's AI and or bots. And so it leads to this whole like even Spotify and music and creative is like being taken over by AI. And it kind of led to this whole discussion of like, is that all right? Well, the part of the conversation that I want to fast forward to is Billy Corgan said that he believes that what's going to happen is there's going to be an uprising of rock music again, because rock music is live music, really. It always was. And so that could be the saving grace to music, is that we have this resurgence, no, resurgence, not resurgence. I like to develop my own language. I like to take words that I think should go together and put them. So, you know, reassurance, emergence, resurgence is a reassurance of a reemergence of whatever. You follow me? You feel me? Ah, yes. This is Vertigo. This is the podcast that will make your head spin. I'm just having fun with the video at this point. Coffee. Cheers. Sorry. Man, sorry about that. A little dry up in here. That's why I need the coffee, I guess. The caffeine is supposed to slow down the ADHD, but I don't think that it really does. In fact, yeah. So, anyway, that would be cool, in my opinion, if all of a sudden we saw an emergence of rock music. I would love that. I think it's time for rock to kind of break back out and be on top again. That's my opinion. But so, yeah, so the Nocturnal Affair is what's on my playlist. So if you haven't heard them, go and check them out. The song Oxygen is really cool. And like I said, it's all over rock radio right now. And yeah, I would love to hear some comments. So I'm going to ask anybody who, anything throughout this pod that you found interesting or want me to flesh out more, whatever. I'm again going back and developing my own language here. But yeah, light me up. Let me know what you want. Let me know what you think. Let me know all that good stuff. And this is Vertigo, the podcast that will make your head spin. Thank you so much for joining me. Be well, and talk to y'all soon.